Hey everyone, this is Josh back with Cardboard Chronicles. Today I'm speaking with John, a collector from Australia who super collects Scottie Pippen. How's it going, John?
Good, mate. Thanks for having me. It's our second go at trying to get this, so fingers crossed we go all right this time.
I think we got
It's
everything
good.
situated. Yep.
Yeah. So,
All right, so why don't you lead us off and tell us a little about yourself, your history in the hobby, and what you like to collect?
cool. Okay, so I'm John. Go by the name of Slobby the Great. So I'm a Pippin super collector, or was a Pippin super collector. Sort of backed out of the hobby a few years ago, but still hanging around a little bit, trying to chase some stuff that I've sort of passed on over the years that is now just exponentially increased in value. But that's sort of that's where I sit at the moment with collecting. I've been collecting Pippins since I can't even remember. It's like 25 years at least,
Wow.
25, 26 years. Um, I grew up in a small country town, and I was always collecting rugby league cards and cricket cards that we do down here in Australia. Um, but there was just normal cardboard things, and then we moved up to a city, and on the way up, we called into a service station. And there was some basketball cards, which I'd slowly started getting into basketball. NBA was sort of coming on to TV every now and then. And I remember seeing Pippen in the Dream Team, uh, and he was wore number 8, and number 8 was my lucky number. So I was just gravitated towards Pippen at that period of time. So I didn't even know his first name, actually. We had no magazines or anything with basketball down there. I just knew Pippen was number 8 for the Dream Team, and he played for the Bulls, which was 33. And I was good with that. Didn't like everyone knew who Jordan was, but all the other players they weren't really fussed on, and I was more gravitated towards Pippen over Jordan. And a lot of the people who know me through collecting know my die-hard passion for Pippen to the death over Jordan. So I still stand by the fact that Pippen was the greatest Bull of all time. Um, that's the truth for me. But I won't go into that because I can just start arguments, and not many people like that conversation, so it's okay. Um, I remember busting open a pack of Upper Deck. I think it was 93, 94. Um, yeah, Upper Deck and Skybox Premium, and pulling out a skylight. I think it was a Robbie Ory skylights. And to me, that was just unreal. And just the photography on the cards, just the premium set of the cards, the glossiness, the sharpness of the cards. They weren't like paper cardboard ones that we were used to collecting down here. Everything was super sharp. The second pack, I pulled out a Spreewell or Rookie. And that to me was like back at the time like $15, and that was just out of this world sort of crazy prices. And then just sort of started slowly getting into collecting basketball cards, trying to everything around that period of time, as we all know, was just like out of this world with regards to from then on. Like we had rookie standouts and ultra all rookies and that sort of stuff. And I was just collecting everything I could that was basketball. I remember having a folder of all, I think it was 28 teams at the time, and Upper Deck had the team cards. So I used the team card as my first card, and then the superstar, or no, team card, then the insert, then the superstar, the top 3 row, and then filled the rest out as I went along.
Nice.
I ended up compiling like a whole heap of inserts. I had like the Penny uh, rookie standout, I had the Weber rookie standout, I had the Penny and Weber ultra all rookies, all pulled from packs. I remember we were chasing the rookie standouts, and they were hard to get, like one a box, I think it was. And then they released the jumbo packs where it was one every pack for $15 for a pack of a jumbo pack of Upper Deck. And we go to trade days and swap stuff. And I remember swapping the Spreewell rookie team for the Michael Jordan highlights. I know it was an insert for a base card, but to me, it was just the Jordan was the pinnacle of that little subset. And I remember trying to swap for a Terry DeHere. I think it was the top prospects Upper Deck, those little embossed little logo on the bottom of the card, and I thought that was just unreal. Like it was embossed card, and I think it was Terry DeHere. No, Calbert Cheney, I think it was. Yeah, not Terry DeHere, Calbert Cheney it was. And I don't know what I traded for that, but that seemed to be my favourite card at the time. And I think I'd just run out of everything at the time, and I was collecting sort of Pippen. Pippen was still always my favourite player. It wasn't Jordan in my Bulls thing. Pippen was number 1, and Jordan was down the bottom actually. So it started young, but Pippen was the king. And I took them to school one day, and they got stolen, and all of them got nicked. And I cried because it was like my parents split up, and we moved a fair way away from our old town, and my brother and I used to go with our dad just to collect cards. So collecting was more of as I look back now, I guess a time just where we shared the same sort of thing with our dad. like spent some time with our dad,
Sure.
and just sort of developed a bond through cards and that sort of stuff. So he was he's a single father at that period of time, looking after 2 kids, which was not really seen everywhere you go. It was pretty rare.
Right.
And I think that's what sort of, I look back at it now, and that was the emotional connection to the cards at that period of time. It was done with my dad, and we got to spend time, and it was a big transition from moving from one town to another. And at that point in time, I thought, you know what, I'm just done with this. I'm just going to collect Pippen. So that's how I started. There was during that period of time, up until from about 93, 94 to about 97, there was just card places, like card shops everywhere, card shows every weekend, so you could just travel all over the place. And I slowly developed a name, a reputation for collecting Pippen. At that period of time, if you had 50 or 60 cards in your collection of a player, that's outstanding, And,
right.
I sit at over 2,200 now. Like, I couldn't believe I'd get to 22 and a half, nearly 2,500 Pippins, but at the time 50 was the magic number, and ended up getting to 100. Got 100 Pippins, nothing special. There was not really nothing in there. Couldn't really afford anything. It was a lot of base cards, and I remember sticky taping the career highlights autograph card on the inside of my folder, and that was just my dream card. That was the pinnacle of Pippins at the time for me. I just wanted to own that card. That is rookie card. I'd have been happy if I was okay with that. And but whilst I was collecting Pippen, like, Top Stadium Club sort of got my interest. I just love Top Stadium Club. It was just to me, that was the best base set that you could go around. Inserts were just unreal, but the base cards for Stadium Club were different to everything else. They were real live photos. Everything was an action photo. Everything that they did from 92 onwards was just ridiculously clean. Like, I just loved it. And I remember, I can't remember the year, it might have been 93, 4, 94, 5 TSC with the Rising Stars, had Shaq, and it's like the background of it was all shining like a space type thing. Like, I even think now, if those were numbered to 25, they're $1,000 cards. Like, the quality of those was unreal. And I needed LaFonso Ellis to complete the set, and I won a box. I managed to pull them every time I'd open a pack. I'd get one a box. I'd just kill the box when I go to a card shop just straight away. But LaFonso Ellis was the one I was chasing. I remember walking into a card shop, and there was LaFonso Ellis for $25, or there was Pippen Rookie for $25.
Oh, no.
And I just passed on the Pippen Rookie. It was my one shot at getting the Pippen Rookie, and I thought, no, I need to complete this set, because it's like a pinnacle set. It's won a box set, and it would have been unreal. So I passed on the Pippen Rookie and never saw it again for 6-7 years. And I stopped collecting because everything dried up in around 96, 97. Everything just stopped. Basketball just over here just pretty much died out. Like, it was all done. Like, even though the Bulls were, the Bulls at the time, they got a fair bit of airplay over here, but basketball cards was just dying out. There was nothing around. Like, you'd have to travel 2 hours to go to a card shop. So I gave it away, basically. I just packed the Pippins away, and I think it was sitting at around 170. And I was a bit disappointed that I couldn't get to 200. I didn't have his rookie. I could never find that career highlights auto. So I just packed them away. I was at work one day in 2003. I think it was. No, yeah, 2003. I thought, I don't know what I was doing. I just remember, like, I wonder if I can find a Pippen anywhere. So I Googled it, and I found eBay. And then I was just open to this world of Pippins. Like, they're just everywhere. I just put Pippen in, and there's stuff everywhere. And I found this guy. And I hadn't kept up to date with anything, and I knew that rookie gem mint sort of stuff had started to bubble around that time. If something was gem mint, then it was worth more. And I found something that the Pippen rookie gem mint was like $300 or something like that. And This guy said he had one that would have been graded gem mint. So I thought, you know what, let's bite the bullet, let's go and see. So I paid $360 for this base Pippen rookie card, because I just thought, yep, let's just do it. And I got a few other cards in there that I couldn't collect when I was younger because I didn't have the money. Like, there was Total D, Jordan Flight Team, career highlights, some of the career highlights, and the what was the other one that was in there? I can't remember what it was, but there was a whole. It wasn't $360 worth at the time. It would have been lucky to be $50. And I remember pulling open the pack from the mail, and as excited as I was, the I guess you'd call it sort of a shame hangover that I paid $360 for these cards that just were nothing at the time. But it sort of reinvigorated my passion to get back into Pippins. I thought, well, I'll just sort of treat it as like a I guess trading shares, you buy something that fluctuates up and down. So I'll just go and buy as much as I can. So I proceeded to start just collecting everything I could in Australia. Everything that was Pippen, I just buy it up. Like I never wanted to spend more than $10 to $15 on a card. And like for about a year, I just bought everything that just came up, whether it was base, whether it was game users started to come out. There were no autos or anything like that I could afford at the time because I didn't want to spend the money. But I pretty much bought up everything I could in Australia. Then I had to go overseas and start buying stuff. So I got a PayPal account and I started buying stuff from overseas. And I set my budget at like $50 because if I pay $50, the conversion rate at the time was 54 cents. So $50 turned into $100 plus postage on top of that. So $50 card's a $130 card.
Right.
Which was a very big hit back then when you're not earning money, like a lot of money. But I've always had a saying that I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't gamble. I Pippen, that's what I do. I'm happy to not eat for a year and buy $1,000 cards. So that was my motto. So I thought it was okay. I didn't do any of those things, so I was good with that. And I remember I broke my $50 budget and I bought a jambalaya, and I paid 110 Australian dollars for it. And you'd be lucky to find a bent one for $110 now, like half of one. You could find a ripped one and be still worth more than that.
Right.
And I got that, and that it was like my ceiling had been broken. So $100 was nothing once I learned how to spend $100 on a piece of cardboard with the guy. I was okay with it. So
and how that goes.
Yeah,
you just keep raising your floor, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the floor started to raise.
Yep.
It raised pretty quickly. I hovered around 150 for a while, and I was missing a lot of stuff. I remember seeing the masterpieces sell for like $300-400 at the time. I'm thinking, should I do this? Should I not do that? And I remember selling one sell for $546. I'll never forget that figure. I'm thinking one day I'm going to get that and I'm going to buy that. And 546 is now turned into 5,460. So it's
right.
exponential increase. So I missed a lot of stuff because I didn't want to spend too much money because it was a lot. And then a Sweet Shot, I can't remember the year, Sweet Shot Auto piece of wood on it with Pippen on it, was jersey numbered, and it was for $340, and it was a buy it now. And I didn't know how much it was. I'd never had a jersey numbered, serial numbered card, and I just thought, yep, let's just hit the bin. So $340 turned into like $680 or something like that for this card that's probably worth $100, $200 now. But that doesn't worry me. Like it's a lot of my cards that I have stories and sentimental values around it. It's never been an investment for me. That's one of the things that's pushed me away. This talk of investments and keeping things for long periods of time. So like obviously we want our stuff to have a value. Right. But I've paid overs for Pippins since I've been collecting him. I've been a bully in trying to get every card I could get. But that sort of set me off again. There was my ceiling, went from 150 to 300, and then 300 slowly moved up, 400, 500, and then went into the magical territory of hovering around 800 every now and then. And Exquisite had come out, and Pippen really wasn't selling. I remember I bought 2 Exquisite auto patches. I think I've got them here, actually. Actually, I don't. For like, I think they're $120 each. Let's see what I can find. They're in folder somewhere. That's probably going to scare everyone that I keep all my cards in folders, which I was organised, but now I've lost them. But they're $120 each, and they sell now for $700-800. Yeah. And I was getting into Exquisite and wanting stuff like that, but I was looking at collections where guys had. Pippen was, I'd say, was a second tier type of player, like in terms of collecting. Like people, like he had a bit of value, but then there was everybody else underneath that, and I saw big collections of masterpieces and auto patches and all these sort of things that I could never acquire through Exquisite and that sort of stuff through funds. And I just thought, I'm just going to have to jump in now if I want to build this collection and be the best. I'm just going to have to go for it. And I started buying up Exquisite stuff that I could find. It was like $400-500 every now and then. I'd buy some, and I was able to get some good cards. And then Ultimate had come. I remember passing on a lot of Upper Deck Ultimate cards and Sweet Shot cards, but then I started to get in to buying like the Ultimate things like this one here, the Loyalty number 211.
Oh,
I remember
nice.
getting that. Don't know how much that was worth, but this is another thing. Like, I'm known for busting stuff, so this was a. I think you can see that. That was a 9.5, 10. So I don't
Wow.
like stuff in Beckett cases, so I bust them out and put them in sleeves. So that's a 9.5 BGS 9.5 with a 10 auto,
Wow.
number 10 and 11. So I bought that and busted it out. So I started to get into some higher grade stuff, and as time went on, just Pippin sort of dried up, and you know, there was everything was really expensive at the time, and I started to get into a little side project of collecting parallels or serial number cards numbered to 6 because he won 6 championship rings, and ended up getting an exquisite enshrinement numbered 6 of 25 like this one. That was 6 of 25.
Whoa, sweet.
So I ended up getting that one. So that was my first one. I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I could get the second one numbered 6 of 25? And then sure enough, old mate popped up, 6 of 25. So I grabbed that one as well. And I remember this one, like I tried to get one of these. I think I paid $6.50 for this at the time. And I remember there was one on eBay, and I asked the guy to sell it early. And I said to him, like, I'm a Pippin collector in Australia. I've got over 1,500 Pippins. Would you like to sell me this? I've been in Beckett. And he said, no, I'll let the auction run. And I ended up saying to him, this was the arrogance I had at the time of being the best. Like, I considered myself to be the best. I said, if I don't bid on that card, it's not going over $700. I can guarantee you the max you'll get is $700. He goes, right, we'll see how it goes and it runs. Anyway, it sold for $700 flat. And he got an email. I got an email literally 5 minutes after and ended apologising, saying I should have listened to you. But I missed out on that one. And it's a blessing in disguise because I was able to get the twin sixes, which has been good.
That's sweet.
But then what was always in the back of my mind was like everyone has, like with all our 90s players collections of the PMGs, like they were always something that I wished I could have had. Like I remember passing on them all the time. They were out. As soon as I started finding them on eBay, like $80. Like Pippin PMG Red was $80. I never saw a green, but I saw that and I thought, no, I'm not paying that. That's way too much for a card. I refuse to pay $80 for this piece of cardboard. So hindsight, I probably could have had 10 of those things and I'd have been happy. But passed on those, but I slowly started to get into as I said, the more expensive stuff, and PMGs just weren't around, and I built the collection so large that a lot of people knew who I was. They knew Slobby the Great was the Pippin collector.
Right.
If they'd got something, I was getting emails like daily from people all over the world, and it happened even once I was featured in Beckett too. They put my email address in there, and the guy hit me up about some cards, and there's a few cards that have always been on my radar. That's the PMGs, obviously, because of what they are. And I remember the Fleer Letterman. I just saw the Barkley collector. I can't remember his name. He's got a couple, or he might have one. And I saw it and I thought, man, I've got to get one of those. That just is unreal. And well, after I was featured in Beckett, a guy hit me up and said, I've got some Pippin Letterman. Do you want a Pippin Letterman? I thought, yeah, I'm done. Just give me one and I'll be happy. And he sent me the Letterman, which was good, and I got it, which has actually just fallen out of the folder, funnily enough. So he sent me the Letterman, which was I'm not going to take it out. I'll take the page out, but it was just like for everyone to see. I've got a few now, but it was the P, and then I ended up finding the I. The P was my first one, and I was happy with P because P was for Pippin, and I was good with that. And I had a piece of jersey off his back with a full letter. And I'm getting the I, and then I've got the E as well. So I know there's another P in Taiwan. The guy emailed me or found me on Facebook. I don't know how he did that, and he's got the P, but he won't move it. And I think he was just showing it to me just to tease me to say this is where it's. But I've got 3 of the 6, and they're not going anywhere, so they won't ever go anywhere. They're never being sold. They're on eBay at the moment, just to try and flush out the last guy who bought the last P. I don't know who that was, but I missed it because I didn't have saved searches on. But I don't have that at the moment. But I'm trying to. That's the thing I'm trying to get. But the PMGs sort of just hanging around. Like they were always there. That I could see them over in China. Or was it Japan? I think it was China and R&B. It was R&B Sports at the time. They had. I think I said to this the other day. They had pretty much all of them. I remember seeing Robinson Tim Duncan and Pippen was there. There were like 3 Pippins were there. Jordan was there. Like they had all these PMGs, and I'm thinking I just got to somehow get that. How do I get that? So I tried sending an email, and I got nothing. And I think as they started to bubble a bit more, the guys, I think they were just purely display stock. There's probably guys, Nat might be able to tell you because I think he got a lot of his PMGs from over there. But they started to sell them. They were purely display stock, and they started to sell them. And I saw Pippen was $700, and I thought, yeah, I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and I'll buy that. But I couldn't get it anyway. I got a guy. Well, I think one of the guys must have bought it from there, and he sent it off for grading, and it was graded 8 out of 10, obviously through BGS, and he was going to move it, and he just hit me up and said, "Slobby, I've got this. Do you want it?" And I said, "Yeah." "How much do you want for it?" And he said, "I'll take $2,200 for it." And I said, "Oh man, I'm going to have to ask my wife." I asked my wife, and she goes, "Well, if you want it, you've got to try and figure out a way to save to get it." And he was gracious enough to allow me to buy it off him. I literally was trying to sell a kettle to get money to get this card. I was selling everything I could. I rummaged through boxes to find stuff that could have been put on eBay. And there's this. I was at the point where the kettle looked good. I think I could get $10 for that. That could go towards a PMG. But I busted my ass and worked a heap of overtime, and I managed to save up $2,201 in US funds in PayPal, and I ended up buying the PMG Green. So if everyone wants to have a look at that.
There it is, man.
Numbered 8. It is the only one that I haven't busted out yet. Everything else that I've received in a BGS case has been busted out. This one is probably not going to be busted out. As much as it's paining me to see it not sitting next to his red brother, which is sitting out here in a folder next to him. It's I think it's a bit too much to be able to bust out. But
is it 6 out of 100?
Yeah.
Is it 6 out of 100?
No, is it? No, it is 4.
Ah, so close.
No, if it was 6, it probably would have come out actually.
Yeah.
I've been that excited to have it. And this is the thing with my collection. Like, I was like Gollum with Lord of the Rings. These Pippins were my precious. Like, it was just
right.
If I got it, I'd look at it, I'd put it aside. I'd get it, I'd look at it, and put it aside. And this is an example. This is what I was talking about before. These are cards that are just sitting here from 3.5 years ago that I just get and I put in just in the container, and then I sort them out later. I just had to have them. They were just compiling my collection just bigger and bigger. Like, once I've got it, yep, okay, move on to the next one. And I think Panini was the straw that broke the camel's back with that, because at the time I was buying high-end stuff, and the guys who sold me this may or may not be watching, or some people may or may not know who the person was who was this. He seemed like a pretty good dude, but then I got an email a while ago saying that there's a bit of resentment in the fact that he sold it to me. He said, "I could have got a lot more from it. You should have been lucky that you got it." And that sort of, sort of pissed me off, actually. Sorry for swearing, but it was just because you sold something at a period of time at its peak, like this at the time, $2,200 for this, like, it's a lot of money.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it becomes like a year later it's $4,000, and you're just crying because it was sold cheaper than what you could have sold it now. Like, that started to throw me. I could start to see those sort of people coming out in forums everywhere where they've got, I guess, seller's remorse that they've sold it for something, and that sort of really aggravated me because they'd start picking on people like collectors, and just because people weren't collecting high end, they were not a decent collector. And the same thing happened to this thing. Like, this is you can see that given
Sweet.
The pieces.
Yeah.
The guy offered me that for $1,000, and I said, yeah, I'll take that. That seems reasonably market price at the time. And then someone put one on eBay and it sold for 3 times that. And the guys did the same thing, got the same email saying that, you were lucky, I shouldn't have sold it to you. And I'm thinking, come on, mate. Like, don't be a sook about it. I paid $1,000 for a piece of cardboard with a guy on it and a signature with a piece of stuff in it. And, you're crying that the fact that it's gone up, and now I'm the bad guy because I paid overs for it at the time. So I saw those guys coming out, and it sort of slowly diminished my, I guess, joy for collecting, and Panini had started to come out, and they were doing the same thing. And all the cards that I would buy through Panini, it got to the point where I've got a thing here actually. I found it when I was going through my collection. I was doing a count, like I kept a running total before Panini came, and I was getting like 10 to 20 cards every 3 or 4 months with Pippen, like because he wasn't in anything. And then Panini came out, and I'm thinking, oh, well, Pippen's in that, I've got to get that. And then there's an auto in that, that's great. I haven't had an auto in about a year. Let's get an auto. And then there's 2 autos, and there's a parallel auto, and there's a 101 auto. I'm thinking, geez, there's a lot of money at the time. And I was just buying everything that came out. And at the same time, all these guys looking for investments and hitting me up about, I shouldn't have, I got lucky because they sold me something at a period of time. And it sort of didn't really invigorate me to want to buy Pippins anymore. It sort of turned the page to becoming aggressive and arrogant and, just trying to have a go at people who I thought were just not in this for the right reason. And that's just an opinion. People buy cards and do cards for whatever reason. That's why I find that you guys so refreshing when I found this site. And when Ron hit me up on Card Trader asking if I'd be interested in the interview, I thought, not really, mate. I don't want to deal with guys who are collecting cards and that sort of stuff. And then I watched it, and it was really refreshing. It sort of drew me back in. Like I started looking at eBay again and watched I've watched all 25 episodes, like from start to finish. I just paid attention. I thought, I've got that card. I've got that one. I'll go and have a look at it. So that's invigorated me to go back into it. But then I read some stuff on forums, and I'm just quickly back out. I see stuff on Facebook, and I'm quickly back out. Like I don't want to be dealing with that sort of stuff, because I quit back in 3 years ago because we had a stillborn daughter, and it sort of reprioritized my what I felt was important in life, because Pippins were the be all and end all for me. And then after we had our daughter, it was just it was sort of a bit of a wake up call, that these things mean nothing. I could spend it on doing other things. I didn't have to be an arsehole to people who I felt were bullying other people on card forums and that sort of stuff. I didn't want to be that. So I flat out cold turkey gave it away. I just stopped collecting. I was done with everything that was going on. The fact Panini was just paralleling everything. The quality of it wasn't that good. Every other card was a jersey card or a patch card or a parallel card. There was 100, then there was a parallel to 90, and then a parallel to 80. Like it did my head in. Like I couldn't keep up with wanting to deal with it, and so I just gave it away. But just before that, actually, a guy contacted me. I was flirting with giving it away, and a guy contacted me and said, I've got something for you. You might be interested in it. And it was this. It was a 101 showcase masterpiece, Player 101 masterpiece.
Can you show the front again?
Sorry?
Show the front again.
Can't really.
There you go. Sweet.
So it's not the Bulls legacy.
Sure.
It's the Blazers one, which is still 101.
Sure.
Which was good because I got that, and that allowed me to complete like the legacy rows of those, as well as the other legacies, which I happened to get out just to show you anyway, because there's just before all this. These all came in pretty much at the same time. The two that I needed to finish off the set. Like I was chasing this one. This one was like my unicorn, similar to what's in Gone in 60 Seconds, trying to get the Shelby GT. This is my unicorn. I missed this about literally 12 times. I could not get a hold of this thing. And even though there was 100, they kept going up. Just like I thought 75 was fine. I'll pay 75, and then it went to 90, 150, 200, 250. Thinking, geez. And then one came up, and it was a pretty good one. So I threw some money at it, and I got it. But it was a 9.5.
Cracked it out.
Busted it open, and then a 9 came out. I busted that out of that one, and that allowed me to complete that. So I know a lot of guys are probably thinking this guy's a lunatic, but that's a lot of the guys who know me. This is what I do. I keep cards in folders. I keep them in sleeves like they're supposed to. This is not an investment for me. These people might see this and think he's ruining the card. Maybe it is what it is. It's not an investment. These are just purely for the love of the greatest Chicago Bull basketball player of all time, basically.
I always have the Jordan versus LeBron debates. I haven't heard the Pippen versus Jordan debates much.
Yeah, probably because I'm not around anymore to put those out there. Every
Well,
time someone had Jordan, I always have the counter Pippen. I've always said Jordan wouldn't win a ring without Pippen. So I know it's vice versa, but facts are facts, mate. Everyone can leave their opinions in the comments, but
sure.
it is what it is. When I collect, I pretty much stopped collecting cold turkey. Just flat out stopped. Had nothing to do with it. I bought one card in 3 years, and that was the Panini glass thing. I don't know. It's around here somewhere. I've got it somewhere. But I bought that. That was just because I always thought that would have been a good idea. Someone put it in glass, and that was cool. So that's the one thing I bought. But what I miss is like the decent guys. Like I miss chatting to guys about cards, and because I was always able to help people. Like a lot of people would contact me for help as well about stuff because cards were just my life. It wasn't just Pippen. It was just like basketball cards were like 5-6 hours a day, eBay forums, that sort of stuff. So I was helping guys, and I miss those sort of the interaction between guys. Like I know Al in New Zealand with those silly number 21 cards.
Yep.
Even though it's hard to understand his interview because of his accent, it's a bit tricky. I do give him respect for his cards that he's got, but I miss stuff like that. And just like this here is the National Treasure Pippen auto, the first National Treasures, and it's 101. This was pulled by a guy here in Australia. He went over to the Nationals and he grabbed I think he bought a box or a case, and he pulled that out. And his name's Garth, and he collects Jermaine O'Neal, and I think he collects Dante Exum at the moment. And he gave me that for $500 at the time. It was probably worth 2.5 times that, nearly 3 times that. And that's the sort of stuff that means more to me than this thing over here. Like this thing, like everyone sees, that's 10 grand. Yeah, but this thing here, the fact that some guy pulled that out and gave it to me for the cost of whatever he paid for the case or the box at the time meant a lot. No, and this will never go anywhere other than back to, if I ever move cards, this is going straight back to Garth. I see it as a $500 loan. Like I'll sell this back to him for $500, or even if I'll probably just give it back to him. I just don't care about the money. Like it's a nothing thing to me. But this has a lot more value to me than something like that, because it was more about a community of cards and a passion of collecting for fun, excitement, and just joy of just opening up stuff, opening up those little yellow bubble mailers that come out and pulling out whatever's inside, and just hoping that the corners are okay, and then hoping that it's not in a BGS case so I don't have to bust it open. But that sort of stuff that's the sort of stuff I miss. And I was drawn to, and that's why I love watching these videos, because of the guys whose collections, like I saw Jordan's Jordan and LeBron, no, Josh, is it Josh's Jordan and LeBron collection, and I'm just blown away by that sort of stuff. But like whilst all that sort of stuff's cool, I'm hoping you get the guys who collect stuff like these little OPG cards that you can't find anymore. Those are a little, not an oddball, but just something that holds, these sort of things hold more value to me than all the blingy stuff. Like all the stuff's nice. Like obviously we don't mind having $10,000 cards and that sort of stuff, but it's these little small things that hold a lot more value. And of all the stuff that I have, this is probably one of the most valuable card that I've got to me. This is just the there's 94, 95 or 95, 96 ultra defensive gems. These were one a box. And I remember when they came out, my dad took us into the card shop, and they just literally opened the box. And I said to the lady, "I'll have a Pippen defensive gems, please." And she went over and she pulled the pack, and this is what I pulled out. And this has been in a sleeve since 1995. I put it straight into a sleeve,
Wow.
right next to this thing. So these are the first time these things have seen the light of day since 94, 95. Has not moved out of that sleeve in the front of that folder for all that time. So those are the things that sort of draw me back into wanting to collect. See your love of when you see it, when you open a penny and seeing all your pennies and that sort of stuff, and seeing the guy sending you the shoes. Like that sort of wants me to come back and just interact with guys just about collecting cards for the love of it. But I just don't think that the love is strong as it used to be. Like I spent so much time doing Pippins, and it's just out. And I look at the stuff like when I gave up, like this is the little box that when I just flat out stopped cold turkey. I'll give you a look at some of the stuff that's in here. Like there's a exquisite quad patch. There's a gold label 101. There's a Timeless Treasures 101 tag. There's a Contemporary Collection 101. There's a 101 there. There's an Immaculate Collection 101 tag. There's 3 more 101 something, Panini something. Another Pippen 101. But that was like black. That's just the sort of stuff that was just sitting there that to a lot of people they think, wow, that's pretty cool, but to me it's not like that anymore.
So then how would you say we bring it back, right? How do we get you back, guys like you back in, and how do we capture that feeling again?
I don't know. I don't think you can. Like once you reprioritize something in life, like it's always going to be a love and a passion. Like when I see you guys, like I literally cannot sleep when I watch some of your guys' episodes, and I think just they're doing it for the right reasons. There's no bitterness, there's no resentment in it to that sort of stuff. And like I don't think I've had a good or a bad relationship with Nat, who collected the PMGs, but you know, I see his high-end collection. I think that's just amazing, you know. And I remember passing on. I think he tried to sell me the Pippen jersey number Playmaker Theatre for like $450, and I thought, no way, mate, you're not ripping me off. I'm not playing that. Now I'd happily pay twice that for that sort of card, but I see guys in here, and I think, you know, just the passion that it reinvigorates me to come back, like I said to you before. And it's good to see you guys and the love of all the stuff that you've got. And the guy who collected Brett Favre, like I see all this stuff, and his little base card that was his, like that was just I couldn't. That's the episode that I couldn't sleep for an hour thinking, geez, this guy's unreal. Like he's got this card and holds more value, more sentimental value to him than all the other cards that he had, and that was pretty cool to see. But I don't think, like, if you could find me some grand finales and a couple of PMGs that I'm missing for less than $500, I think I'd happily dive back in. But all the cards I'm missing that I passed up on, like Playmaker Theatre, Grand Finale, Team Skybox, Star Ruby, that I'm still can't chase down. Like all the cards that I need.
Yeah.
Looking at $1,500 to $2,000 to try and, or maybe a bit less than that, to try and get them to complete the set, or not the set so much, it was to increase the collection, because those sort of things is what everybody judges a player collector's collection on, obviously, is those big cards.
Right.
And I've got the PMG Green, like, and it sits here, and I throw it around like it's just, you know, nothing. It's not anything to me. It's just a card. Like everyone holds more value to what it is to me. But yeah, you guys do a good job of I don't know, keeping the passion in it for the right reason. There's no animosity towards other people. It's just all pure joy. To the point where I've decided, I think next year or this coming Nationals, I think I'll come over to Chicago and pay a visit and see what it's like. Because I remember there's a guy here who collects Pippen as well, and he's in Adelaide. His name's Matt, and he went over last year. And people were asking him where he's from, and he said Australian. Who did he collect? And he go Pippen. And they go, oh, you Slobby? And he goes, no. I think he got asked that question about 15 times. Yeah, he had the shits by the end of it. And thinking, I'm not Slobby. Just leave me alone. So I think I might come over, and it'd be good to meet some guys who I've dealt with over the last 20 years in collecting stuff. So
Sure.
But in the meantime, I'll just sit on the bench and watch you collect big time pennies and see how everyone goes. Like I've deleted all social media stuff. You can't find any of my stuff anymore. Like my collection's just sitting here in folders and in these little Ultra Pro cases that, you know, just sit here gathering dust. Like I'm looking at 3 cards at the moment that I took out to scan because I finally got the rack pack version of this autographic. So I had the Pippen autographics, which was nice at the time, and then I was able to get the Century Marks. So Century Marks was pretty cool.
Nice.
And then the rack pack, which is yet to be busted out, so that came through. So that's on its way out. I'll probably do that this afternoon now that I found it again. I didn't know it was sitting there, so I knew I had it. I just didn't know I hadn't checked it in the case. But that'll probably come out this afternoon, so it can go in the sleeve and be packed away. But we've got this stuff here that is just sitting there. There's like immaculate autos that aren't just doing much. So it's just sitting here. We've got this trilogy Pippen. I think there are only 10 of these. Someone could try and help me out with this. That's number to 10. It's that glass. It's a see-through thing that's just here. So I think that's around 10, but that's just sitting in a case. Just sitting there. Well, you're probably shaking your head. There's probably a few other people just thinking this stuff should be protected a bit more, should be a bit more valued. But
Well, this is going to be a very controversial video. I'll just tell you right now. You're just like
also,
flashing around all these insane cards that people would dream to have in their collection.
I think that's the thing. Like that's why Pippen have just purely been a passion or a hobby. I've never seen it, and that's another thing that just really annoyed me. The investment, people trying to buy cards for future sales, and you need to be wary about who you collect. And I got lucky with Pippen. Like I had 1,500 Pippins before Pippen took off. Like I was sitting on what would have been maybe, I don't know, let's say 10 grand collection at the most at the time. And then Pippen took off, and now I've got one card that is worth that, maybe more, which has pushed the increase, which is my cards have increased in value, but they're still just pieces of cardboard for me at the moment, because with, like I said before, the greatest Chicago Bull player of all time sitting on the front of it, it's just the pure love of Pippen and the Bulls and the joys of collecting that it doesn't really worry me that these cards are, $10,000. I remember, like, I'll show you. This is everyone's probably going to die at this. So let's just get it out of the way. So I'll actually bust it out so you can see it. Probably a $5,000 page I'm about to open and show everybody. So we got like Star Ruby, another Star Ruby. We got credentials, PMG Red. What's that? It's another credential, more credentials, just like all this sort of stuff, just sitting in this page, just where they sit, Just,
I've never seen anything like that.
Who would have never believed me that I actually put, Pippins in sleeves or bust them out, and then there's, like I saw this the other day. I remember it's like all my cards like have a story. Like this one, this is the embossed refractor finest.
74, yeah.
Yeah, number 58 of 74. And I remember I thought, I didn't even know that existed, and I found it, and it was like $100, and I thought, I'm not paying $100 for that. There's 74 of them. I'll find those easy. And then 100 quickly turned into 300, I think I paid $400 for it. And now it's just taken off. Like they just fly. That's the sort of stuff, and that's sitting in here just before the PMG Red, which is that's sitting in there. But it's these sort of things that, this is why I collect, like all my stuff is literally in a folder, which you can see. That's how old it is. It's like breaking apart. They don't move. The things in here don't move. They get thrown in. I put them in some sort of order, and then they just stay there forever. They don't move. Like I can see, I got a Prime Twine in here, Noise Boys, Big Man on Court, ZP, Exceptional, like this thing here that I didn't know. Like I think this cost me $20 at the time, and now it's like a couple $100, I think. This thing, Exceptional, numbered to 100. Like I was lucky that my 90s player didn't have much of a following, but then once 90s stuff took off, I just asked backwards into value there. I guess that's just it is what it is.
So what are you gonna do with these cards in the end? Are you gonna pass them on to your kids? Or are you gonna sell them? Like what would you actually do at the end of this?
I've always said, like, there was a guy, and Nat knows him. His name's Kimmy, and he goes by Durian something. Like I remember watching this guy collect, and this is probably jealousy. I'll say there was jealousy in it at the time. I remember seeing him spending $25,000 in a week on basketball cards, and he grabbed Pippins that I wanted and I couldn't get, and he'd beat me to it because he had the cash. And I always said that, like, these Pippins are just going to go with me. It doesn't matter if I die; they're coming with me. Like I've got 2 sons now, and I spent so much time compiling this collection that I would hate to see something like this, which has been in my hands or in my collection, and the PMGs and that sort of stuff go to anybody else. I couldn't, like, when I was reevaluating and reprioritising my life, that trilogy card was the one that was nearly sold. I nearly sold it to a guy in Ozcod Trader for about $200 because I just didn't care at the time about this sort of stuff. I held on to it though, but that could have been the straw that broke the camel's back to selling them all. But I don't think they'll go anywhere. The PMG Green's not going anywhere unless I have to, I don't know, bail my son out of jail or something like that. That's probably the only. But maybe not. Maybe he can stay in there for a lesson. You know, the PMG could be more valuable than his freedom at the time. But we'll see how that goes. But like, I can't see them going anywhere. But I've got this actually. I found this sort of stuff. This is a pristine 10 Prism Gold, numbered 7 to 10. Like, I don't want this. It doesn't hold any excitement for me. Someone might see this and think, oh, there's a shiny gold card and a shiny gold label. Like this, I could throw this away now and not care that it's never seen again. It can disappear and there can only be 9 gold cards ever in existence. Like, it doesn't worry me. That's probably one I'm going to try and entice this guy in Taiwan to try and give me that Pippen Letterman, but I can't see them going anywhere. I don't, unless you guys want to buy them. You know? I tried selling them to a consignment store, and because I got an email, I don't know how he got my email, but he said that he knew I wasn't collecting anymore, and he'd be interested in trying to buy my collection. I said, oh, okay, these are the things I've got, and I told him PMGs, all that sort of stuff, all the bling. And he goes, oh, okay, that'd be pretty cool. And he said, oh, I can give you $7,000. And I'm thinking, nah, mate, it's not going to fly. I can't do that. I've been offered $10,000 for the PMG Green and Red like 6 years or 5 years ago. I was offered $10,000 for the PMG Green and Red together, and I knocked it back. But no, I can't see them going anywhere. Plus, seeing you guys collecting, I see the way you guys collect, and I think, yeah, I can't do that. I'll try and find some more of these OPGs, which I know there's only one other one out there that I'm trying to find, but I've got to try and find that one. My credit card's clean at the moment, so Grand Finale comes up or Star Ruby Team Skybox comes up. I'll have a bit of a crack at that. But yeah, seeing you guys, like I've mentioned a few times, it's good to see how you guys collect and the love and the passion. And I see our collectors numbered 21s, and I think maybe I'll just start going back to try and collect, you know, number 6 of things. Like I think I had like 35 parallels that are numbered 6 of something. Like, and that's sort of what kept me going when I sort of lost interest with Panini, trying to find the 6s and that sort of stuff. And then before Panini, actually, I was collecting shadow cards with Pippen in the background because I pretty much had everything that. And I've got a collection of like 210 cards with Pippen in the background. So they don't form the part of the 2,200 Pippins that I've got. So there's like close to 2,500 Pippins,
right.
Which 200 Pippen in the background. You'd be surprised how many cards you can find of your player in the background. You've got nothing to do. Like they'll just pop up.
Right.
I think I've got a legacy too. I can't remember. There's a legacy card. I've got a Row Zero legacy of. I can't remember who it is. I think it's Sean Elliott. I think Pippen's in the background of that, and I paid $60 for that just because it was Pippen in the background. So it was a bit of a waste of money, but it was pretty cool. I can't find it actually. It's hiding somewhere, which is no surprise given that the way my collection's sorted out. It's like in boxes and cases, not cases and sleeves. So.
You've got one-on-ones just like sitting there on the side. It's fine.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, there's probably effectively a 1 of 0 or 0 of 1, given that they're not going anywhere. But I think part of me also wants to go back and do this sort of stuff, like bust out stuff that's in, like that's a dual Pippen Rodman auto, that's 10 auto and a 9. Like just go and find things that are encased in BGS and free them of their little jails, let them see the light of day where they're supposed to be, into their little sleeves and their pages. But you know, it's a lot of money, and I've tried collecting some things recently, and a lot of guys see, you know, BGS giving it higher value. I don't see that. To me, and I understand why it's done, but to me, it's just BGS is. I think it's a subjective type of service. Whilst I see that, you know, 10s look good on things. Like, don't get me wrong, that looks unreal. Like, I'd love to have a Pippen rookie card that's got that on it. And obviously that would be unreal in a 10, but they don't hold much value to me. Hence the reason why I bust them all out. They're just not supposed to be in there, I think. So,
right.
But I'm thinking when I come over to the Nationals in Chicago, I might see. I think Beckett's got a grading service over there at the time, do they?
Yeah, they do. Yep.
I might try and bring the red over and see if I can match him. And if I can't get an 8 that matches, I'll just bust it back out. I think that's the plan. I think to come over with the PMG red, see if I can get it an 8, give him as a brother, and see how I go. But yeah, that's the story of Slobby the Great. Why he's not around anymore, and what his cards look like. And it's true, he does keep cards in sleeves, and he is a lunatic when it comes to busting out VGS.
Well, this was
hobby.
This was a very interesting interview, and I actually thought I thought it was a great interview. So I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story, and we'll see what people think of all your busted out cards.
Thank you, mate. Feel free if anyone's got anything that I might be interested in, like Grand Finale, Playmakers Theatre, those sort of things. Happy to negotiate. Team Skybox and Star Rubies. Trying to chase that thing. They're the 3 things I remember. Oh, 2 quick story. I remember this is ridiculous. I hate talking about this. A guy listed the Grand Finale on eBay and he just put it as SPX gold. And I looked at the card and I thought, that's not the gold. That can't be the gold. That's not the gold. And I sent it to a mate of mine in New Zealand, Graham, who Hairy Angry Fellow, which a few guys know. And he said, yeah, no, that's not it. And I thought, yep, fair enough. So I thought I'll set my sniper up and I'll try and grab it. And I got called away from work and the auction was ending and it sold for $11.45.
Oh my gosh.
And I quickly sent the guy an email saying, mate, I forgot to bid. I'll happily pay. And this is a bit low, but I said, I'll pay you $50 for it. And he goes, no, I can't do that. And I said, righto, mate, it's the Grand Finale. I'll give you $350 for it. Because at the time, that's what it was selling at the time. And he replied back saying, oh, I can't believe I nearly sold it. Thank you, but I've got to keep it. So I missed out on the Grand Finale for $11.45. And that's, to this day, is one of the biggest regrets of not buying a card when I probably could have. I remember also the exquisite Logo Man auto. I think that sold when it first came out for $770, and I thought I could have paid for that with a credit card. Now it's gone now. I know Kimmy's got it in Taiwan, and that's never. I don't know if that's ever coming out ever again. It's nearly a $10,000 card sitting right there. But $700, like a period of time, because I couldn't afford it. I was too stubborn to want to pay money for it. All the stuff that I could have had could have just been a higher value. But now I guess that's where I'm at now. We're trying to collect. Everything's expensive, going into pennies. Nothing's like it used to be. It's no longer cheap. It's all
right
relative to supply and demand and quality and collectors wanting, nostalgia. It's good to collect with nostalgia. That's why watching you guys do it, it brings it back. So yeah, thanks for letting me share my story and show off some of these cards. It's been good talking to you. I'll be watching in keen interest all the other ones. Bit disappointed I couldn't get the jersey numbered interview. I was hoping for number 33, but
we couldn't hold out that long.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to hold out. That's good.
Well, we'll see if we can find you some of those last few Pippen cards, and hope to see you at Nationals.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'm on my way. I'm committed to it. So.
All right.
I'll see you all there.
All right, sounds great, man.
All right.
Thanks,
mate.